Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do something slightly different today, review something current as opposed to the typical reviewing and ranking my entire CD collection. If you haven't been here before, you're here now, so welcome. I do tend to waffle a bit before getting to the review, so go ahead and see the chapters below if you want to get to the meat of the video. Before you skip ahead, click the like button and subscribe to help grow the channel. This video is part of a second series that will run at the same time as the first one. It's called Reviewing Albums That Have Been Released at a Similar Time to the Review, or something more catchy of that nature. Today's album, as you already know because you've read the title, is Djesse Volume 4 by Jacob Collier. If you don't know who Jacob Collier is, he is this really eccentric Queen's English speaking multi-instrumentalist whose musicianship seems to know no bounds. Whilst everyone was outside playing murder ball and drinking white lightning on the park bench as kids. Sorry mum. Jacob remained indoors and learnt every instrument going and studied every chord that's ever existed and its relationship to every other chord that's ever existed to a standard that I've never seen anybody do with such understanding of music. According to his Wikipedia page, which is 100% accurate, we do our research on this channel. He plays keyboards, piano, double bass guitar, drums, percussion, guitar, mandolin, ukulele, arpeggio and melodica. He can also sing a ridiculous amount of octaves with a sweet, often twee but also malleable tone. His voice is a bit like Cliff Richard if he was raised on jazz, funk and contemporary pop. He's better than Cliff Richard. Jacob's voice is actually a lot more versatile than that. I just thought it was a good analogy. When he talks about chords, he may as well be speaking Chinese, or another language you don't understand if you're from China. With Ted talks about C sharp, flat, mel harmonic, diminished, 11/4ths, and how they blend effortlessly with half sausage fifth. I went to music school and don't really understand it. That said, I did spend 12 grand hosting Mario Kart Double Dash tournaments in my kitchen. Sorry mum. I think you can still enjoy his music without knowing what he's going on about. His enthusiasm for music is really joyous, wholesome and infectious. He does bring a smile to my face when he pops up on YouTube, be it singing the Flintstones theme or Stevie Wonder classics, multi-tracking his voice 58 times, there or thereabouts, and arranging chord progressions and harmonies my tiny little 3-chord punk brain can't comprehend. I don't want to call it barbershop because it's on another level to that. He covered Lionel's All Night Long as well, an ambitious and uplifting reworking, arranged in a way Quincy Jones would have put his name on. I think he's in the video, I'll have a look. If I don't have time, I can always edit it. He seems like a really nice bloke as well for what it's worth. Never seems grumpy, always positive and full of happiness, which is so refreshing in this day and age of internet drama and negative clickbait. These small YouTube clips and the folk-inspired Tiny Desk concerts he has done is all I've heard of Collier. I've never actually sat down and listened to one of his albums. Djesse Volume 4 is the fourth and final volume to the Djesse collection. The first, second and third were released in 2018, 2019 and 2020. I've not heard any of the others and don't have time to listen. Hopefully it stands alone and I don't need the 3 previous volumes for oral context. This is actually his 5th full album. His first release, In My Room, was released in 2016. One musician appeared on that debut. Jesse, a combination of his initials with a silent D, was intended to be the opposite, including as many musicians as possible.
A few moments later.
I've just finished listening to the album and I have to start the review by saying I'm a bit gutted I will never get to experience hearing this for the first time again. I will do my best to put into words how great this album is, but I'm not sure if I can do it justice. I'm always sceptical when an album is 70 minutes long, but it flew by. The album begins with 100,000 voices, in which the audience, made up of a literal 100,000 voices, recorded on his recent world tour, provide a gloriously harmonic and epic opening, giving you the warm feeling from the inception that this album belongs to everyone. It's a theatric opening credits with a bit of death metal chucked in for good measure, a warning to put your seatbelt on for a musical journey that hasn't been done before. For a man of his talent, it is impressive that Jacob is able to park his ego aside and let other musicians take the lead on so many occasions throughout the record. Everyone from Coldplay's Chris Martin to guitar hero Steve Vai make an appearance via John Legend. If I rattled off the names of every person who featured on the album, you could watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy at the same time and I'd still be reading the list after it's finished. You feel involved as a listener because it's not background music. It's an album you put on to really listen to and try to clock how Jacob is able to make such simple song ideas so full to the brim of original sections. His solutions to make songs more interesting always leave you in awe. Left field, unpredictable vocal harmonies, polyrhythms and instrumentation that never seems to be out of place or overdone. There are literally hundreds of layers to each track. It would take multiple listens to hear what you missed and rehear the album in a different way. Song ideas are simplistic and relatable, be it the Joni Mitchell-esque folk number Little Blue, 90s chill R&B Cinnamon Crush, or the gospel track featuring Stormzy. Jacob Collier sounds natural at whatever he turns his hand to. He makes beautiful, uplifting, fun, wholesome music that is otherworldly, that you just can't help smile and vibe with. He should be a lot bigger than he is now. 100 million subscribers on YouTube as opposed to 1. million. Mi Corazon should be a club hit that everyone is sick to death of by the end of the summer. Number one singles don't have the weight they once did, but this Spanish pop dubstep-like duet deserves a 10-week run at the top. The last 3 tracks of the album could have been the whole review. Box of Stars shouldn't work. Collier decided to blend every genre that exists, as well as featuring a plethora of rappers spitting in multiple languages that gives a sense of travelling the world. The album's penultimate track, Part 2, blends Holst planet-like strings, Stravinsky orchestration, traditional Irish folk, songs in the key of life brass, a Rio Carnival atmosphere, Hugh Masekela-inspired African drumming, a gospel choir, Steve Vai himself with a Metallica-sounding crossover all at once. This sounds horrendous on paper, but the Gen Z Mozart makes it happen, revolutionising sound and composition in the process. It's not too contrived or too abstract, pretentious or avant-garde for the sake of it. It somehow works because the sections are linked together effortlessly. I can't remember an album making me feel so alive in recent times as Djesse Volume 4. I'd possibly have to go back 20 years to when I first heard Minor Threat's Energy, or the hard-hitting, criminally underrated, dark, twisted world of Plan B's first album. The track Crescendo is very much reminiscent of A Day in the Life by the Beatles. This isn't A Day in the Life 2.0. It's A Day in the Life 10,000.0 in all its 2024 glory, years ahead of its time. World Oh World is the finale masterpiece that the album has been building up to all this time without us knowing. It sounds like 2,000 angels from heaven singing an anthem, signalling this glorious experiment called life coming to an end and thanking a higher being for a sensational ride. Jacob is thanking the world, the earth, for being such an amazing home. It is an ode to completing life and being ready to ascend into the next unknown spiritual phase of existence. This is so much more than music. It could turn the most hardened atheist into a religious fanatic. The musical journey has come full circle. It's a monk chant for the 21st century. When the rest of the world is caught up to Jacob Collier's brilliance in 50 years' time, everybody will want World Oh World at their funeral. At the ripe old age of 29, Jacob has completed music. He can retire. I don't know where he can go from here. He definitely deserves a lie down. As previously stated, Jacob is our Mozart. I wrote that thinking I was clever and now I've seen it all over the World Wide Web. Anyway, never mind. When I hear the likes of Bach's Goldberg Variations or Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, I can never believe that a human composed those pieces, and I get the same feeling when I hear Jacob Collier's music, particularly his mass choir works. It's otherworldly and incomprehensible it was birthed by one brain. This album is best enjoyed in its entire format, with full concentration so you can fully immerse yourself in Jacob's unique soundscapes only he knows how to think up. The tracks are more powerful and poignant in its context within the songs surrounding it. In 300 years, 99% of music will be lost in time, but people will still be studying Jacob Collier's music in the same way we still admire and love Beethoven, Haydn and Tchaikovsky. It's refreshing to have an enigma such as Jacob Collier in this space. He's always looking on the bright side of life, totally at peace with the world around him and intent of being his true weird self 100% of the time. He never takes himself too seriously and he's not trying to be cool. As he says himself, it's better to be warm than cool. I had no intention of being so gushing. I tried to avoid it, but I have to give credit where it's due. This album is revolutionary. Jacob is revolutionary. One of the greatest musicians that's ever been. Other than Bridge Over Troubled Water, which I just feel has been overdone prior to this release, the album is flawless. I have to give it 10 out of 10. I don't know what else I can say. The master of any genre, the master of many instruments, the master of capturing any mood, the master of making music feel alive, and it existing as one organism for everybody to enjoy. Even by listening to the album, I feel as though I've contributed to its making. This may only make sense if you listen to it, I hope. Right, I'm off to listen to Volume 1, 2 and 3. Maybe I'll revisit this work in 5 or 10 years and see if I still think it's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Faith in music restored. Thanks for getting this far into the review. What did you think of the album? What were your favourite tracks? Have I been too over the top? Was I not over the top enough? What should I review next? Like, share and subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.